This was not the first time of me telling this story. This has been years. It started me telling this story when my sister passed away. So this is like years of me getting to this point, to this layer. I always stand true by what I said. I always stand true by what happened. And I don't know if there was a right or wrong way, the way I handled it. I don't think that there was. And with what I speak with my therapist with, there was no right or wrong way to tell the story.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Have you been following the Evelyn Braxton situation? Because the more details come out, the less sense any of this makes. The story gets more confusing with every piece of information that surfaces. And when something stops making sense the more you learn about it, that's when you start paying closer attention. So today, we're going to look at the consistency, or really, the lack of consistency. Here's the thing. For years, Ashley told the same story, the same tone, the same details. She wasn't contradicting herself. She was clear and steady. When someone tells their story the exact same way for years without wavering, you tend to believe them, because trauma doesn't just disappear. Ashley's story had weight to it. It felt real. The timing feels off, really off. And when timing feels suspicious, people start speculating. Ashley herself said her father discouraged her from speaking publicly. That's a direct quote. He didn't want her talking. And then you add in the rumors about attempts to silence her, and suddenly you're looking at a pattern. So the question becomes, what is being protected here? Now, let's talk about something people have been noticing. Observers say Ashley looks more like Towanda than her stated mother. Resemblance alone doesn't prove anything. Genetics are complicated. Here's something else that doesn't add up. Ashley is part of the Braxton family, a famous family, and yet Ashley's content had almost no views. So what's going on? Is it suppression? Lack of promotion? Algorithm issues? Why can someone from such a visible family not gain any traction?
What would the effects of those circumstances be on the younger brothers? Because it would be very difficult for them to, I guess, develop respect towards you and your sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't see eye to eye because the way they see life is very different than the way I've seen it. And so for them, it's hard, which is understandable.
Yeah.
When I'm speaking these things about their mother, these are quite harsh accusations
of course.
That I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if you were not there to grasp what was happening, then perhaps you think and be like, I think this is a little far-fetched.
Yes.
And that was something that was really...
And then her sister passed away, and that's when speculation really started to increase. Because grief brings hidden issues to the surface. It forces people to confront things they've been avoiding. People started connecting dots they ignored before. Death has a way of making secrets feel heavier. Think about this for a second. When you're a child, you assume the people taking care of you are your parents. You don't question it. You trust what you're told. And speaking of things not adding up, let's talk about the birth certificate. Ashley claimed her mother's name was removed from her birth certificate. Removed. Not a typo, not a mistake. Removed. And here's the thing: that kind of change requires major legal action. You can't just erase someone's name from a legal document without going through official channels. So, immediately, questions arise. Who changed the paperwork? Why did they change it? What was the reason? Was Ashley misinformed about what actually happened? Or did something truly get altered? Because either way, this is a massive red flag. Birth certificates are legal documents. They're not supposed to be edited like rough drafts. Then there's the revelation about brothers. Ashley mentioned brothers that no one knew existed, previously unknown brothers that were never talked about publicly. And that raises more questions about unacknowledged relatives, about hidden family dynamics, about parts of the story that were deliberately kept quiet. Because when you start discovering relatives that were never mentioned, you have to ask yourself, what else wasn't mentioned? What else is being kept out of the public narrative? And all of this connects back to her father and the secrets that seem to surround him. So now, let's put it all together. You've got paperwork confusion, you've got the resemblance, you've got the secrecy, you've got the inconsistencies, you've got the hidden relatives. And when you combine all of that, you get a pattern, a very specific pattern. And that's where the most popular online theory comes in.
It may not be your family, and that is totally okay. I am an example of that. You may not get support from your family, and that is totally fine. You still have the right to use your voice. You still have the right to talk. You still have the right to say how you feel. The world will try to silence you. People will try to silence you. But the world needs your voice and
Ashley's real parents. Now, this is not confirmed. This is public speculation. And then there's Tony's reaction. Tony expressed surprise about Ashley's claims. She acted like she didn't know what Ashley had been saying. So either Tony truly didn't know, which seems unlikely given how public Ashley was being, or the family was actively ignoring it. Either way, that raises questions. What were they avoiding? Why did they act surprised when this information had been out there for so long? Because when you pretend something doesn't exist, that usually means you're uncomfortable with it. That usually means there's something you don't want to address. And let's talk about visibility again. Family members rarely mention Ashley. She's not in group photos. She's not tagged in posts. She's not included in family events online. Her absence feels intentional. It feels meaningful. Because in a family that lives so publicly, someone being consistently left out is not an accident. That's a choice. That's a decision that someone made. And when you notice that pattern, you start asking why. Why is she being kept at arm's length? What is the family trying to communicate by not including her? Let's circle back to the birth certificate one more time, because there's another layer here. Ashley's stepmother allegedly added her name to Ashley's birth certificate, and legally, that's nearly impossible. You can't just add yourself to someone's birth certificate after the fact without extremely specific circumstances. So that raises two possibilities. Either this didn't happen the way Ashley thinks it did, or Ashley was given inaccurate or incomplete information as a child. And if she was given false information, that means someone lied to her. Someone intentionally misled her about her own origins. And that's deeply troubling. Here's the contrast that makes all of this even stranger. The Braxton family has built a public image on openness. They had reality TV shows. They shared their lives. They presented themselves as transparent. Who protects whom? Who stays silent? Who speaks up? Because those patterns tell you a lot about what's really going on. It raises questions about secrets versus loyalty, about whether protecting the family image is more important than telling the truth. And through all of this, Ashley's emotional pain seems real. It seems consistent over years. She's not performing. She's not faking. Her pain has stayed the same even as her public statements have shifted. And that tells you something. That tells you the hurt is genuine, even if the narrative around it has been manipulated. Now, to be fair, there's another explanation here. Maybe Ashley is just exhausted. Maybe after years of speaking out without getting support, without getting answers, without getting validation, maybe she's just tired. Because exhaustion can cause people to soften their claims. Exhaustion can make you retreat. When you've been fighting alone for years and nothing changes, sometimes you just don't have the energy anymore. So it's possible that Ashley's shift isn't about pressure or interference. It's possible it's just about burnout, about reaching a point where continuing to fight feels impossible.
Were they part of the package, or did they come along later?
They came along later. Okay. So my sister is 3 years younger than I am. My oldest younger brother is 4 years. And then after that, it's 8 years.
Okay.
So they came after. And it's unfortunate that even now we don't have a relationship because you were just pit against each other.
Yeah.
So the household was like all for one and one for all. You better guard up.
Wow.
And it's not really healthy.
No, definitely not. No. I was wondering, like, what would that...
Online rumors claim that Michael used legal threats to silence Ashley. Again, this is unconfirmed. We don't have proof, because when you combine the sudden change in Ashley's statements, the family's silence, the lack of visibility, and these rumors of legal pressure, it all starts to paint a picture of someone being cornered, of someone being told to be quiet, and that fuels even deeper speculation about what hidden truths are being protected. And then there are the timeline issues. Ages don't quite line up, events don't perfectly align, details shift depending on who's telling the story, and timeline inconsistencies are always significant, because when dates don't match, that usually indicates hidden details. That usually means someone's version of events isn't complete. It creates more theories. It creates more confusion. They're looking for clues, and suddenly, past moments that seemed normal now appear suspicious. They feel meaningful. They feel loaded, because when you know what questions to ask, you start seeing things differently. You start noticing who's standing next to whom, who's not in the room, who changes the subject. And all of that adds layers to the growing narrative. It makes everything feel more complex. And that's where we are now. Every new detail raises more questions. Every answer leads to 3 more mysteries. The situation is unraveling like a loose thread. You pull on one thing, and suddenly the whole fabric starts coming apart. So let's come back to the central speculation. The theory that Ashley may be connected to Towanda in a way that's completely different from what's been publicly stated. This theory persists because of the sheer number of inconsistencies, because of the resemblance, because of the secrecy, because of the paperwork issues, because of the hidden relatives. And without official answers, Speculation is going to continue. People are going to keep asking questions. People are going to keep connecting dots. Because when a family refuses to address something directly, the public fills in the blanks. And this isn't just about Ashley. When you start looking at the broader family history, you see references to past allegations involving multiple family members. This isn't an isolated incident. This is systemic. This is generational. There are patterns here that go back further than Ashley's story. And that shows this isn't just one person's experience. This is about how the family operates, about what gets hidden, about what gets protected, about who gets silenced. Ashley's story is part of a much larger picture. So here's what I want to know. Is Ashley connected to the family differently than we've been told? Why is the family so guarded about this? Why did her story suddenly shift after years of consistency? What are they protecting? Because at this point, there are more questions than answers. And I want to hear from you. What do you think is really going on here? Drop your theories in the comments. Drop your theories in the comments. Drop